a long time ago, the Israelis, at great human cost, accomplished what they said they wanted to accomplish. A year ago this summer, they, by their own reckoning, had destroyed Hamas's military organization and so its ability to do another October 7th. They'd also killed the leaders who were responsible for October 7th. The only thing they hadn't done that they said they wanted to do was get the hostages out. So perpetuating this war, and again, at horrific cost to people who are caught in this crossfire of Hamas's initiation, is not going to achieve much, except to further isolate Israel in the world and further do damage to people in Gaza. So the question is now every effort should be made to finally, belatedly end this, land this, so that the hostages can get out, people in Gaza can finally get some enduring relief, and we can point to a better future, not the horrors of the last couple of years.
So international and diplomatic negotiations are not my forte, not what I understand, but I understand in other realms how negotiations work. So someone makes a proposal, and there's usually a time or temporal element, right? The judge is going to decide something. I will have to invest a lot of things. There's another buyer for the property. There's something that motivates the other party or significant parties in the negotiation, not to sit back and wait indefinitely to see how the world changes or the market changes, et cetera, et cetera. They got to act. What is the equivalent of that here for Hamas in terms of timing?
So there are a few hints that we've gotten just in the last 24 hours in both the proposed deal itself, as well as some of the things that President Trump has said in discussing it. One is this notion that this whole process needs to start within 72 hours. That is, hostages released. I'm not sure when the Not clear, except that that's the other hint he gave. He basically said at some point, if Hamas doesn't go along, then over to the Israelis to do whatever they think they need to do.
But isn't that the status quo?
It is, but the status quo is horrible, and it's horrible for everyone. First and foremost, for the Palestinians, for the people who are caught up in the midst of this, but also, I believe, for everyone involved, including the Israelis. Because what's the dynamic now, absent going along with this agreement? The dynamic is Israel is going to be left holding the bag on an insurgency that's likely to go on for years. By our calculations, Preet, as many Hamas militants who were killed over the course of this, virtually all of them have been replaced with new recruits. Now, maybe very young men who aren't experienced, don't have necessarily the same capacity, and the military organization of Hamas has been totally destroyed. But in terms of the number of people with guns, it's not a lot less than it was when all of this started. And that means if Israel is stuck in Gaza, it's stuck with an insurgency, it will be bled. It will have to keep churning reserves because the Israeli military is based on reserves. These are people who are pulled out of their lives, pulled out of the economy, put into Gaza. And of course, most important, the suffering that we've seen will continue. And Israel's place in the world will continue to be in a precipitous decline. It'll be increasingly isolated. It's a terrible dynamic, and it's all the more terrible because the opportunities that are there in a totally different direction to finally integrate Israel into the region, to have normal relations with virtually everyone, to be more secure, to have an even greater economic future, to isolate the big problem actor in the region, Iran. All of that is there for the taking, but it requires Gaza to end, and it requires a real pathway for Palestine and its future.